My Miami, it's a one-of-a-kind combination of bold, vibrant art, warm waters, and extraordinary trails. It's what I like to call my art-venturous side. This is My Miami. What's yours?
On this season of the Leading with Audacious Confidence podcast, we share stories from corporate executives and tips from those who coach them to high performance on what it really takes to build and keep your confidence in this fast-paced, ever-changing world of business, and how they inspire others to lead with confidence. Be ready to take lots of notes because there's always some juicy nuggets coming your way. Hey, it's Alicia Curry here for Leading with Audacious Confidence, and I'm super excited for you to be here to experience my next guest, Robin Osborne. For business consultant and executive coach, Robin Osborne, overcoming adversity has become a constant theme in both her personal and professional endeavors. A capable family business leader for more than 3 decades at Cromall in California, after undergoing emergency surgery to remove a sizable brain tumor in 2021, Robin trudged through the frustrations of physical therapy for over a year until she was finally able to walk a single mile. Combining Robin's operational, financial, and leadership prowess with personal experience, the frustration to freedom framework emerged as a result of one of the most trying times in Robin's life, and today serves as the backbone of her consultancy to help executives achieve a kind of freedom that, as a business owner herself, she could only dream about before experiencing her unexpectedly profound transformation. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Thank you, Alicia. I'm so delighted to be here.
I know it was a journey for us to get here, but we're finally here, and I'm excited to have this conversation because this is about leading with confidence. And you were tested very early in your life with this role as a leader. Do you want to share with us that, I mean, in your bio, it doesn't even scratch the surface of the trials that you went through. So if you can just right off the bat, share that with us.
Sure. So I grew up all-American family, super tight. My dad was my hero. Unfortunately, business got to him, overwhelmed him. He took his own life in 1988. I was 21 years old. And our mom, so for me, I have a twin brother and I have a middle sister. She said, you can take over the company and get along, or we're going to sell it. We said we wanted it. So in one day, we became the owners of the business and we had 40 employees.
Wow. And you became the CEO.
Yes. And
at 21.
We recognized our strengths and weaknesses from the beginning. And what I will say in long-term businesses, whether it's family or not, is that it never was about us. It was truly about driving the legacy of the company. So we never got into selfishness, into that sort of thing, but we're an FAA repair station. So we overhaul landing gears. Wow. We also, for the last 30 years, have overhauled every missile silo in the country. We do the launch components that throw the trap door open.
Right. Wow.
So when they did space program, we did the main engine on the shuttle. So lots of high liability, people's lives at stake, a lot for a 21-year-old. What I found the most difficult in that journey was earning the trust of the employees. So the employees were anywhere from 28 to 60 years old. And what I recognized immediately is that I needed to show up and get their trust. I did that by one-on-one conversations. I would say it took me about 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
To really get unified, and they believed in us as youth taking over the company. We went about 25 years doing really well. And then we
Can I interrupt you just for a second? Because I don't want to get too far away from being a 21-year-old, experiencing the loss of your father that was your hero, and then making the decision with your other siblings to take over the company. Did the leadership part of that come from your dad? Did that confidence to say, we can do this, did that come from your dad?
I believe part of that did, meaning he was a definite, he made me feel 10 feet tall as a kid. I was limitless. There wasn't anything I couldn't do. So yes, a big, I would say the fabric, the DNA,
Right.
came natural, but at the same time, we were managing $2 million in revenue. We had to figure out, big, I just
remember things really quickly.
Being up at 2 a.m., struggling. The payroll, I think, was 60,000 a month or something, it was a lot of stress, but at the same time, I would say the key was asking for help, asking for help. So I did have, we didn't have anyone inside the company to ask because we were it, but we did have CPA. We ended up getting a coach. That really helped.
That's what I was going to ask next. It's like, did you seek out a coach or someone to really counsel you as a young executive? Like, how do I do this? What do we need to do? So excellent.
And I would say the number one strength I had was being vulnerable.
Wow. We
Putting
need to put that for a moment. Being vulnerable and saying, I don't know what to do here. Wow. Yeah.
And I need help.
And I need help. I think a lot of leaders have this misnomer that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, because you do a lot of leadership coaching too, is that they need to know everything and they're afraid to show up not knowing something, not having the answers when an employee or a team member or a colleague asks. They feel like, I need to know it. So they either shun leadership positions or they get overwhelmed in their leadership position because they have this idea that I need to know everything. And
my learning in this journey has been, you got to get out of your head trash. So what I call your inner roommate is your inner conflict. So that's the negative self-talk that we're doing that's not serving us. So for me, I used to be very, very self-critical, and I had a bar that was so high that even when I was doing, we were profitable except all but 1 year in a 33-year journey, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
But I spoke to myself in a negative way up until just a couple years ago. And the other thing is, I would say no one defines you, only you do. So if you're looking for outside praise, you gotta, the self-love journey is key in leadership, because we need to focus on the difficult. You gotta walk through the resistance, have the difficult conversations. So coping mechanisms, when we're avoiding that, that's, I would say you got to be aware of that.
When you're avoiding. Yeah. Yes. Because that head trash could sink you really quickly if you're not aware, if it's a blind spot for you, if you're not aware that it's actually holding you back, all that negative self-talk. So being vulnerable is one way to reduce that. Wow. So head trash, you have a way to help people unpack that head trash and to get from chaos that's going on inside to clarity. Are there steps? Is there a methodology that you can share? Give us some.
Okay. What I call Freedom Framework is really a custom operating system. So it's built around tools that I've learned over the last 33 years. Here's the interesting thing. The tools are the same for personal as well as professional. So the first thing you need to really unpack is your core values. So for me, I use the book, The Four Agreements.
I love that book. Don Miguel Ruiz.
Miguel Ruiz. Yeah. So always do your best. Don't make assumptions. Don't take it personal and be impeccable with your word. So here's my truth. In my own company, I was the issue. I wasn't in alignment with my own values. So early on, I would show up late. I had a different set of rules because I was the owner. So I chip on my shoulder and ego.
Yeah.
So when you really look at the mirror, in the mirror, and really ask yourself, and that's where I'm saying step into the vulnerability, stop pointing the finger at everybody else, use the values as a small set of guiding principles. You will see in your personal life and your professional life where there's conflict and where you need to be open, honest, and transparent with yourself. So that's where I start first. The other thing is I'm listening for what the client is using as far as words in their everyday life. So if they're saying I'm trying, that's an or sort of, probably, I don't know, I think so, kind of. There's no clarity there. So when I sit with someone and say, what do you want? A lot of times the CEO or the person that's getting the one-to-one coaching, a lot of times they say, I don't know. So we got to create that. We got to
want.
We got to
That's a really big question, though. That's a big question because a lot of people really don't know what they want. They're really, really stuck on that. So yeah, values and then what do you want?
So unpacking the why, and it's not complicated, but it needs to get you out of bed in the morning to what I call become your higher self. Why are you here? Who do you serve? And from there, we really paint the picture, reverse engineer it into action, and then drive accountability, whether it's personal or professional. So I've been doing the coaching and consulting and using this framework for the last 9 years.
Yeah.
And I've seen, miraculous, incredible.
And it's simple, but it's not easy, right? There's simplicity in those steps. But actually getting ourselves to make the shift, like sit down quiet enough to unpack all that stuff that's in your head and really make a plan. As someone who's worked in operations, I'm sure that has helped you as a coach, like really decipher all of this and create the right strategies for people. Because operations, financial, leadership, all those things you've had a lot of experience with. So becoming a coach it's like you've done it, so you can help others through it now.
But here, my truth, I love the name of your podcast, but really having, the audacious leadership. Audacious, like I say, an overnight sensation takes 10 years.
At least.
So for me to go from a family environment, business, and step into the coaching and consulting, guess what the first thing internally was? Am I good enough?
Am I good at, can I do this? Am I good enough? Because for some reason, all our experience when we step in to do something new means nothing. Like we don't translate that experience to this. It's like, no, this is something new. I've never done this before. And we don't connect that. No, you've been doing this 33 years. So it's not new. We're just shifting how we're doing it and where we're doing it. I want to go to the brain tumor because share with me, because this is all the way through the pandemic. How was that discovered? Were you getting headaches? What happened that triggered you to find it?
Well, the confusing thing was I was gaining weight, which was a very COVID thing. So, and I was low energy, actually was cussing a lot. And I didn't, my family was be like, wow, why are you cussing so much? Because I don't normally speak like that. And I was just sort of like, get over it, super frustrated. I started seeing a purple circle on the wall. And I went to emergency 3 times. The 2 times they kept saying I was fine. So they sent me home. It was, I would say, my tenacity in
Mm-hmm.
in knowing that they were not right. Third time I went back, I looked at the ER doctor and I said, look, I'm a very strong woman. There's something seriously wrong. Scan my head.
Wow.
So when it was the size of a baseball.
Mm.
When they saw it, they said you're days away from it taking your life because the pressure was so bad in my head. So we went in within 2 days. I went into emergency surgery. They didn't know if I'd ever speak again, and they didn't know if I was going to survive it because a carotid artery straddled it.
Oh, wow.
So I had to say goodbye to my husband, my boys, my twin brothers, sisters, everybody. And it was honestly a huge gift because when I woke up and was able to speak, my whole world now is new. It was almost like being reborn and being in gratitude for little things. And executives and most people are really busy being busy.
Mm-hmm.
So when they start to create transformation in their life, change in the company or change personally, the first thing is I don't have time.
Yeah.
And for me, I now had the gift of life. Every day was a free day because I
Yeah.
made it. So the physical therapy, it took me a year to walk a mile.
I want to go back before you share your journey to recovery. I want to go
Mhm.
back to having the tenacity, the audacity to tell the doctors, listen, something is wrong. Because so many times we trust doctors blindly, even when we know something is wrong. Um, I was just telling you, I was listening to something just before we got on this call, and they were saying that the youngest patient that this particular doctor had treated was 23 years old for breast cancer, and she just kept saying, going to the doctor saying something is wrong, and they're like, but you're 23, there's no possible way. She's like, but something is wrong. So by the time they did look at it, the cancer had spread so far that it had consumed the breast. So if you should know yourself, if you feel something wrong, I mean, when your personality changes, like you said, when you have a drastic personality change like that, that's not normal. So I applaud you so much. That took courage, it took confidence, it took audacity to keep going back and saying, no, something is wrong. Scan me.
And when your brain isn't firing properly, you don't realize it isn't firing properly.
It's
So,
other people around you that are saying things too.
but I started recognizing symptoms that I didn't think I had a brain tumor. I just listened to my instincts. And for me, my faith, God, I
Mhm.
feel as though, you really need to act on your inner voice. If you have a belief that it's not right, you need to be your own advocate, especially in the medical realm. And
Yeah.
when I go into companies, I say, if you see it, say it. It's
Yeah.
the same
And
thing.
feel it. We have a mental health crisis. We have because people are not speaking up and they're holding things in until it becomes burnout or just chronic exhaustion, chronic fatigue, and all kinds of ailments in their bodies. So I'm so thankful that you're taking this experience, that it's changed your life in a way that you're trying to help other leaders recognize that before it gets to this, we need to do something. So yay, bravo to you for that. But why do you think, so now, and I want you to finish your talk about your journey to recovery, but why do you think people tolerate things and they don't change? Like they don't change and they just continue to tolerate it?
I think as humans, we have a habit of staying in suffering. And that's a blind spot. So I say you can't read the label from inside the jar. They don't recognize it. And they're so busy being busy that
They're comfortable in their discomfort. They've made their little comfort place in there.
And they don't make themselves a priority. So with me, my health, I wasn't exercising. I was eating really bad. So a lot of us are just in the grind and we're not honoring ourselves or our health truly. To what I call power of the pause is just really stop, get clear on what you want. And then the freedom framework helps you really build tools that are going to help you consistently execute in a way that, you know, you don't show up for the gym for 4 weeks and then quit. So it's engineering a new plan. And that's truly what I did is create my own in recovery. I use the tools that I use to create transformation.
Yes, I love that.
And stay out of victim. So become in acceptance with where you are. Look, it's reality. Let's enter the danger, face it, and create a plan that's truly what you want. Instead of, I just think people stay stuck in that, like when I talk about peaks and valleys, I call it peaks and pre-peaks. We're always on the cusp of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And life we're never just in peaks.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Wow. So talk to me. You said that you used your framework for recovery. So how did that work?
So first, recognizing where I was, because I'm an overachiever and I had humbling moments at first. So for example, I got a puppy 6 weeks after brain surgery, which is hilarious, but she helped me get out of bed and learn to walk because I would take her out, but I knelt down to put her in her crate and I couldn't get up. So my husband didn't hear me. I had to sit on the floor until my husband came in to actually get up off the floor. So humbling to know that's where I started from. And the other thing is you got to build a team around you to really help strengthen and support, because when you're alone in your own mindset and you're physically and mentally trying to accept the situation that you're in, you know, be impeccable with your word. As hard as physical therapy was, it's hard for me to even talk about because I couldn't lift my left leg. And it took me somewhere, I would say at the 6-month or 9-month mark for me to be able to lift my leg up. So, you know, when you get in a car, how do you get in a car when you can't lift your leg? But here's my truth, being in alignment with my values. And I never canceled a physical therapy appointment. I went 3 times a week because I knew what the end result was. I focused on the freedom of being able to walk. I just ran my first mile in 14 minutes last Saturday. And
can I run a mile in 14 minutes?
So It's
Congrats.
not judging. So the month before I did it in 20 minutes.
Yay.
I did it
So
in
you're
14
seeing,
minutes.
wow, that's shaving 6 minutes off. That's amazing. That's impressive.
But it's the
It's
consistency.
that's the thing I've learned over the years. It's consistency. And if you can get that consistency, build good habits that you can stay consistent with, nothing beats consistency.
And having relationship. So for me, I'm not going to cancel. If it's up to me, I would probably cancel. But I know it's going to help me to become stronger, but I've also got an appointment. So what I find is you need a coach, you need someone to
You need that accountability.
You do.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I also did personal training. I found an amazing person that would not let me cut short,
Shortcut anything.
or like so because
Or empathize or go, oh,
no,
honey,
she
you
wasn't.
don't feel like it today. Okay.
And I could barely get on the floor. It took me a long time to just move. It was very slow going. But at the same time, that's where I'm saying the work is in when you're being in victim is when you're going to make it more difficult in your mindset. And you need to stay in hope. So my definition of hope is having only positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta get curious and find the hope to be able to step through it. And the really what I learned in my whole journey was first and foremost self-love, because I realized being hard on myself and negative self-talking myself prior to my surgery, big waste of energy. And I'm not using my true gifts when I'm doing that. And the other thing I would say is that you have the ability to do anything that you set your mind to. You're going to have obstacles that you come across, but really staying in alignment with the values and the mission, whatever your true purpose is. And mine's to exude joy every day. And so what's fun is like I'll show up and people have like a grumpy face on and I like smile and they kind of look at me like I'm weird, but then
like, what's wrong with you? What you got to smile about?
So that's where I see huge growth in clients is when they build a team around them and not be alone with it.
Yeah. That's incredible. And the ability to go through that and you started your business in 2014.
Correct.
So you shifted careers in 2014, but then having this happen to you while you're shifting and continue to inspire other people, continue to coach, say, you know what, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm not going to let this slow me down. I mean, it's physically slowing me down, but I'm going to keep going. It's so inspiring. And I'm sure you inspire your clients too. When they want to whine and complain about something, they have nothing to whine and complain about because, hey, I lost a huge tumor from in my brain and I had to learn to walk again and everything else. So yeah, if you were my coach, I'd wake up every day and say, I have nothing to complain about. Nothing. So that's probably inspiring them too.
I grew my coaching practice 20% in my first year of recovery in 2022. And it's funny because I had a half bald head and I would swoop my hair on Zoom. So no
one knew that under the swoop, there was nothing.
Yeah. But what I would say is that my hero in my story is not me, it's God. And I feel like I'm here for a second time for a purpose. And I would say how can you grow your coaching practice 20% when you're in recovery from brain surgery? It's sharing the gifts, sharing the learning, sharing the wisdom, because we're all humans and we all have universal stucks.
Yeah. What an inspiration. What an inspiration. I love it. And I love that it was your faith that really drove a lot of this healing for you. And I can't imagine having to say goodbye to your family. Like you're laying there in the hospital and you're like, I'm going on the anesthesia and I have no idea if I'm going to wake up from this. I really have no idea. And so you have to say your goodbyes to everybody. And then what was that feeling when your eyes opened and you're not in heaven? It's like,
I came from strength going into the surgery. I had complete peace. And I would say for the first time in my life, I fully surrendered.
Beautiful.
So that was incredible. When I woke up, I heard myself talk, and I was the highest high I've ever had in my life, because it's like,
it wasn't the drugs, folks.
yeah. So my husband and I have a core value in our marriage, one heart. Every decision we make, one heart. So the nurse said, I'm going to go get your husband. And I said, tell him one heart. So he knew I could talk.
That you were good and you could talk. Oh.
And then the nurse said to my husband, you need to tell your wife to calm down because she's trying to take over the ICU. Like I was trying to tell the nurses how to do their job. See, that's that leadership thing.
That's how leadership. You just come in and you lead wherever you are. That is incredible. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. This has been a really miraculous time together. I'm so inspired by your story and how you've not just gone through this most recent situation, but even from as a 21-year-old girl, I mean, to have the courage when you're grieving to take over a company that was doing such significant work, and you had 60 employees, right? You said 40 employees that were counting on this company staying afloat. To take up that mantle, you and your siblings, that's courageous. So thank you for sharing that. And for any young executive out there, you can do it. You need to reach out to Robin and then help her coach you through it, because she's been through it. I want to jump into our rapid fire, if that's okay with you. Or do you have anything else you wanted to share?
Yes. That's
okay.
Great.
So you mentioned some of them before, but I just wanted to know if there was something specific that stood out for you as your biggest leadership mistake that you either made or was a victim of.
Staying alone. I would call it quiet desperation.
Yeah. Wow. All right. What's the best leadership advice that you ever got that you still implement today?
Best leadership advice? You can't change what you tolerate.
So true. All right. So what is the most Jedi audacious leadership move you ever made that was so out of the box that you couldn't believe that it actually worked?
I would say creating a new, I changed careers at 48. So I was in comfort because the business was very successful, but I listened to myself and I knew my passion for helping people become better, greater businesses for greater purpose. I stepped into consulting and coaching, and it's a true gift. I feel as though I'm in my purpose.
Yeah.
And so, as scary as that was, having the audacity to do that is been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, because so many people stay in it. They know there's something else, but they stay. And they justify it because, well, they need me, or, some other excuse. But they know that there's a greater purpose for them. They're just afraid to step into it. So yes, that is audacious.
And I have one more quick tagline: fear is misdirected faith.
That's right. That's right. You're having faith in the wrong thing.
That's right.
So, if you were a castaway on a deserted island, what 3 things would you hope washed up ashore or was airdropped to you? And one cannot be a cell phone. There are no
Mm.
cell towers anyway, so.
Bible,
Yes.
I would say a knife,
Mm-hmm.
and my husband.
Okay. We'll airdrop him to you. Like, so you couldn't stay stranded all by yourself. You had to bring me here on the island. Yes, honey, we're one heart. So where I go, you go.
I trust him.
He'll help build a fire and
That's
build a raft
right.
for you to get off the island. Yay. So there you go. Oh, great. What does your husband do? This is aside.
He's an alternative care doctor. So he's actually a chiropractor. He's had a practice for 28 years, and now he goes into mid to large size companies.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a corporate wellness doctor.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Well, it's good that you have a chiropractor to help with the whole brain body connection.
Amen.
Yes. I see my chiropractor weekly, so make sure I got all them subluxations taken care of. So who is someone that inspires you every day?
I would say my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
They're not here. They're in heaven, but they were amazing teachers and really helped us to become leaders
Mm-hmm.
through their belief in us. And I carry them within me every day. Yeah.
Beautiful. If you could choose one person,
Mhm.
alive or past, fictional or real,
Mhm.
who would you want to break bread with and just sit down for a great conversation over dinner?
My twin.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. All right. So, what are you reading now?
I'm in training right now to become a C12 chair, which is a CEO forum that is Christian-based business forum. So I am reading all kinds of training. I would say mostly the Bible right now because
Yeah.
it's scripture and it's business tools. So my honest answer is I'm very deep in the Bible, in Bible study and education for my future training.
Nice. Do you have 3 favorite books that you like that you always go to? I know the Bible would be one.
Yeah. So I love
Oh,
Patrick
the four agreements, definitely.
Yeah, there you go. I like Patrick Lencioni, Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I
Nice.
love really what helped me create change in my own family business was the book Traction by Gina Wickman.
Right?
Yeah.
POS.
And honestly, my favorite book, not business related, is Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Ooh.
And that actually is helpful in seeing the future because he looks back on his life with a student. He's a professor.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Oh, All right. Well, I thank you so much, Robin, for spending this time with me. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with such honesty and vulnerability. And I know that our audience will definitely gain from hearing you and hearing what you've been sharing with us, not just in their professional life, but also in their personal life. How would you want someone to reach out to you?
There's two ways. Follow up with robin.com. We can have a 30-minute conversation that goes right to my calendar. And then I also have a website, robinosborn.com, and they can go to my website and find out how to contact me.
Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you.
And for all you leaders out there, I want you to lead yourself, lead your teams, and lead your organization with audacious confidence. Until next time, I'm your host, Alicia Curry. See you.